Good morning. Oh, I didn't let that play long enough. What's up, everybody? Good morning. It is Wednesday, April 5th, and we're live. So if you're watching a replay, fast forward through the music and you can skip all that BS. Let's make an adjustment here and we'll get to work. Let some people pour in here. Hope you're having a pretty good week. I know yesterday and the day before was very frustrating for me. Talked about it on the other channel. But hey, sometimes you just got to wake up and say, "Oh, this is what we're doing now." So that's kind of the deal, man. Um, Want to talk about perspective, and then we'll get into the spot market stuff. And I think that's a real important thing. So we'll get some other people in here, and yeah. So hopefully you're having a great cup of coffee or tea, if that's what you so desire. And yeah. So, anyways, let's do some shout outs here. Thank you for showing up. I can't stress enough how much fun we had at Matt's. And for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This is what we do on this channel. The other channel, we just kind of talk about everything. I went live yesterday on the other channel, talked a little bit about everything, my frustrations, and, you know, things that I want, things that I don't want, etc. All the stuff that narcissists talk about. So, all right, Daryl Worth, good morning. How's it going? Old school, new school, not that bad for traffic in Chicago for once. Well, you're fixing to get some bad weather. So we just had some thunderstorms roll through here. It rained pretty good for a minute and never got severe. I never heard hail or wind or anything. I mean, there was a little bit of wind, but I think south of us in Arkansas, they're getting some tornadoes. So we're keeping an eye on that. I think we're under a tornado watch here in Greene County till about 10, but I think everything's passed now. The temperature just dropped. It went from 71 this morning to it's going to be like in the 30s tonight. So you got to love it when the cold front comes through. CB, good morning from Utah. My best friend, good morning. Interesting. Trucking with MC. What's up? Oh, I forgot to take my allergy medicine. That might get interesting. Bull of Woods, what's up? Nice avatar. Stuart, the hobby trucker, good morning. Plays on Freeway, morning. Still sat in Vivian, South Dakota, waiting for I-90 to open. Yeah, I saw that last night in Jeff Speed that you were stuck up there, and yep. Well, hope for the best. Hope for the best for you. T-Bone, what's up? Good morning. Other trucker James Best, word up. Shame, shame. Yes, sometimes we make bad choices. There's a perspective for you, right? Fran, good morning. Quick hit, what's up? Everybody saying hi to each other. Cascade, good morning. Mr. Wilson, did you get rich yet? Hobnobbing them California sidewalk sissies. You're so funny. Trucker Seals 2. What's up, Snorelord? What's the other channel name? Haven't been in here in a while. It is Snorelord OG. Let me put a link up for it. Do. And let's see. You think I'd have just a link to it right away, but I don't. I'd like to build this channel. I need to update a little bit. I've got my MySpace on here. I don't even know if that still works as far as the website goes. So we'll share this. Copy. paste. All right, there you go. I dodged and weaved my way around the road closers. Good deal. CDN Freight Broker, morning, Steve. Wake up, done. Cold shower, done. Wake up, done. Cold shower, done. Turn on Snorelord, done. Make coffee. Next, my work butt off all day today. Yeah, imagine you're doing what you're doing. I've been reading that Iceman book that you sent me. That's pretty good stuff. Let's see. Shannon, good morning. Welcome our newest contractor. Jeff was talking about you last night on the YouTubes. CDN Freight Broker, good morning. Says to James, I'm in Nebraska this morning. Well, that's better than North and South Dakota. Shannon, congrats on your new adventure. Good morning, Shannon. I'm so curious about your next move. And where's CDN? Trucking channels are boring, but that's what sells. My other channel, I talk about other stuff, and I've only got 500 some people there. 513 subscribers. Of course, I've only got 105 videos. Here, I'll share that screen. Those of you who are new, this is the other channel. As you can see, we've talked about different things there. So, anyways, someone texted me. You sighed like I'm an idiot, but I'm not losing days of revenue. I didn't sigh like you're an idiot. I sigh a lot. That's the thing. I don't think anybody's an idiot. Especially all my friends. You can comment that on the main comment there if you want. Let's see. The Iceman thing, is that Wim Hof? Yes. It's pretty interesting. Okay, I see a good channel is doing the weather. I saw Ryan Hall had 65 and chat money Friday. Yeah, I mean those Ryan Hall, y'all, has figured it out, right? Ryan Hall, y'all, is figuring out has figured it out. Sorry, I'm too nice, Steve. I know people that will definitely disagree with you. I'm an idiot. Forgot about my IRP. Now I sit for a couple 3 weeks. Wow. Yeah, that IRP sneaks up on you, man. I have a horrible time of procrastinating, but that's one thing I learned because um I've had a couple of friends that have had to sit because of that. And so, the way Missouri does it is, if you want to see an ugly fat man, do a video about the Missouri IRP. Just you can search it on this channel. The Missouri sends you a postcard in like September, and then they want everything by October 1st. Okay, I got to mute the phone. Damn. Yeah, that looks cold. But anyways, and I try to have everything, and the I don't have to pay until December 31st, but they want everything by October. And and the great thing about Missouri is that they're easy to deal with. You can call them. I know that like Georgia at one time was like you call and you might be on hold for 3 hours trying to get in. A lot of states have not caught up their websites to make it easy to do your IRP. And so, I mean, yeah. Wim Hof breathing technique is fantastic, says CDN. My plate has been full. Yeah, I bet. CDN, I've heard a bunch of podcasts with him, and I find him very fascinating. His book's pretty good. R2D2, where are you? Ryan. That's right. I just muted you. Solution to broker transparency. Do what you need to do to find brokers who will give you their freight, not post it on low boards. Goal is 80% non-low board freight, 20% from low board. I agree with that statement because that's what I do. I try not to book off the low board if I can help it. But here lately, it's been a problem. I get a new plate in less than 24 hours, but renewal takes weeks. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Um, I I don't know why this broker transparency thing keeps coming up. I guess I look at it from a simplified manner. I simplify things a little bit too much usually. I've been accused of that. And it always comes from the broker transparency thing comes from a place of struggle, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. If you look, it sucks when you're looking at the low boards and you see a lot of low rates. I get it. And then you hear stories, and then stories of direct shippers that are still paying the same amount. And so the load that used to make $2,000 on is now paying, $1,200. And and like CDN is presented, if you would go to the shipper, tell them how much you're getting paid, make them aware that they're not passing the money if you think that's what's going on. That's your look. If the shipper that you're dealing with is paying $3,000 and you're getting it for $1,200, you can easily go in there and say, "Hey, I will do this for $2,000." It saves them $1,000, and it makes you gain some money. That's it. That's what they do with the spot market. Pretty soon, a lot of these contracts, this contract dedicated freight is going to hit the spot market. Why? Because they can move it cheaper there. And that's essentially what these mega carriers do. When the rates are sky high, they come in and they say, "Hey, you know what? We can drop 10 trailers at your facility and we can move this stuff for 30% less." And until everybody understands that, we're going to continue with this, BS of, do you go up to the guy at your local convenience store and ask him how much they got into the carbolicious crap you're drinking? Do you ask them how much they got into their burrito that they're feeding you? Do you know what they caught? Do you know what they buy those roller dogs for? Do you tell them that, hey, this profit margin is unacceptable? I mean, look at venues. Like, they're charging $4 for a bottle of water at Matt's. But yet I saw a lot of people with bottles of water. So yeah, it's just the broker transparency thing. It blows my mind. On it's actually entitlement. There's too much entitlement in this country. We deserve this, we deserve that. That's how people sell you stuff. You deserve a break. You deserve to go on a cruise. You deserve to have this $100 steak because you've earned it. Bullshit. You deserve Nothing. Yes, you have the risk of driving the truck. You have the financial liability, but you know what? You could fall asleep in your car, or you could be texting someone in your car, and you have the same amount of risk. So, it's are there brokers taking advantage of drivers? Yes, but there are also drivers taking advantage of brokers as well. And it's just part of the game, man. I don't know why we have to keep talking about this. Supply and demand. When things are in their favor, they can price anything how they want it. When it's in our favor, we can price anything how it wants it. That's how it works. If you're at a Metallica concert and a beer is $20 and you really want a beer, you're going to pay that $20. Knowing that you can go to the liquor store and buy a six pack for, eight. And it's as simple as that, really. And so the fact that they had to have a whole speaking thing at Match, and that's these FMCSA listening sessions. I remember, I think it was years ago when they were doing the listening sessions for the ELD. Look how that turned out. There was, I think it was Freewheeling. I think it was SiriusXM that played that live, one of the listening sessions. And all it was a lot of it was drivers bitching about I mean, granted, the hours of service do create some constraints, but you wouldn't have the hours of service if people could do things, you know, correctly. It's the Teamsters that brought on the hours of service, because if there was a limitation to your time, people couldn't take advantage of it. Think about this: if there was no hours of service regulations, people would be all just crazy. You would not be able to compete in that market, because the guy that has the stamina that could drive 24 hours straight would make more money than you. And if you're the kind of driver that your only limitation is your clock, yes, it can be very frustrating. Remember, I started on paper. I know how that all works. But these listening sessions, they get into the fine details of why you couldn't find parking and why this didn't happen, And if anything, the shippers and receivers need to be held more accountable. And so that's why they came up with that 3-hour pause. And what did that do? That allows shippers to go, you don't need to have a full clock to come in, because you're going to get it. You're going to get a break here anyways. And that's one of the biggest struggles about truck driving, is people don't value your time. And so there were very few people during these listening sessions that say, well, this is unsafe, this is unsafe, this is unsafe. It was more just a bunch of drivers going, you're going to limit my way of how I make money. Speed limiters are coming up next. So get in on those listening sessions if there are any. And there's not one thing that the FMCSA has done. Well, let me rephrase that. Name one listening session that benefited the drivers. They listened, and they're still gonna. It's just an illusion of, well, you have a choice. An illusion like, well, we do care about you. Let's get your perspective. Meanwhile, during the meeting, they're looking at their watches. They're yawning. They're wondering what pizza they're going to order while you're sitting there letting out your emotions because you're not getting what you deserved. So, all right, you guys been commenting like crazy. All right, Tennessee Trucking. You're in here. Let's start a campaign for shipper transparency. There you go. Even ND makes it easy to auto-populate if the fillings to IRP. It took 10 minutes online. It took me a little bit longer this year on the IRP because they changed the system, so things were in different places. But beyond that, I had Jeff send me my IFTA report and put it in there. Boom, it was done. DIY Semi, good morning. I was speaking to Kenny the other day about it, and he seems to think the standard has already been set with the Dixie May hearing with the Supreme Court, and can't believe the TIA hasn't even said this. Very true. Great point. Thank you. Look at clothing and food industry. Less than 50% profit, and you won't survive. And look, shippers are only allowed to profit 5%, and the rest goes to the driver. Who's with me? All right, so let's talk about that. So the insurance companies, medical insurance, a lot of people don't realize that. And I learned this from Dr. Ken Berry. Or maybe it was somebody else. I don't know. It might have been a Russell Brand story. Either way, the government said health insurance companies can't profit more than 15%. Okay, the government came in and said your profit. You know what that did? It raised the rates. And so what happened was they made adjustments. They found loopholes, and now they're raking in the money in different ways. So if we get broker transparency today, that's going to screw up a whole lot of things. You're going to have to master a new system. And whenever a new system is created, guess what? It's not going to be in your favor. Like these people are like, oh, this government, we got to completely just start fresh. Well, guess what? When that happens, it's not going to be in your favor. Only the powerful people will be able to accomplish what they want. The people with the lawyers, the people with the knowledge, the people with the right perspective. And that's what happens. You deserve your steaks. You do. All right. I had 100% plus profit margins at pet store. I mean, think about thrift stores, guys. People literally give you, if I own the thrift store, people literally give me their stuff. I literally get supplied with free. That's like getting your fuel for free if you're an owner op. Like the main thing that I'm selling is free. Now there's some overhead with the employees and the building and and the labor to sort this stuff out. But the 100% of your supply is free. That's a great profit margin. Now, DAV, Red Racks, whatever it's called now here locally, they're now charging more for T-shirts that you can buy them new at Walmart. It's not such a thrift store anymore. And so guess what? I don't buy it. And part of that is because I know what their profit margin is. You literally got this for free, and you're going to charge me like $80 for something that I can get at Walmart for $20. How long is that going to last? A reminder to those who hate freight brokers: you don't use us. Find your own direct shippers. Problem solved. Right. Well, James, if it was 100%, why aren't you in the pet store business now? If the law is bad, lobby to get it changed. Laws need to be enforced. 2-hour pause gave the megas 7% increase of availability. Right. Very good. They changed the system, and it wasn't in your benefit unless you know the system. When I started driving, it was 10 hours driving, 8 hours sleeper, and you could split it up. It was great. Yeah, that was The hours of service just changed right when I came on. It was definitely easier to find parking when we were all running paper logs. I agree with that. Thomas, I grew out of the building, couldn't find a larger one on his own. If you choose to work with the broker, read their agreement carefully. If they only off $30-$40 an hour detention, tell them your hourly rate is $65. Create your list of accessorial charges, give it to the broker. I know several people that do that. Free market works best when left alone. I agree. You just said it, Steve, that our time isn't valued by others. That's the real fight. Detention, layover, penalties to these shippers and receivers, and have regulated fees on that. You can't keep a viable business on only 5%. That's true. It wouldn't be so bad if the new regulation actually advanced safety. They can't prove the existing ones have, so that means they're just putting more control on independent operators. It's about control, whether you're independent or mega carrier. That's what the hours of service are for. It's about compliance, not safety. It's about control. It's about manipulation of the market. And if broker transparency becomes a thing, which there's already laws in place that you can see the freight bills, just like the carrier, the contractor can see the Raycon. Those laws are already in place, but it's not solving anything, is it? And so you learn, and this goes back to perspective. I'll give you a good story. Okay. A guy I worked with years ago when I was welding, he worked at a convenience store. And at that time, one of the baseball card companies were coming up with a contest that if you found this magic card, that it would, you'd get money. So he figured out that the ones with that card were actually thicker than the regular packs. So he went to a store and he bought a set of calipers. And he would order these massive amounts of cards. He wouldn't even have to open them. He would take the calipers, and he found a majority of these cards, paid his house off. This is true. This is a true story. He took their system, he learned from it, manipulated it, and made money. There was nothing illegal with what he was doing. He was paying for the card packs. And this is what he did. He took the system and used it against them. Now, because of our broker TMS, I can go in there and see what rates are going for from shipper to broker. But they're just laying. It's an assumption, and I could sit there and say, so essentially, I have a little bit of broker transparency. I can look and see what shippers are averaging paying brokers right now on a lane. Does it mean I'm going to get that money? No. Does it mean that I'm going to be able to negotiate a better rate? No. It just means I'm going to ask higher and get hung up on more. Because 90% of these brokers that you're calling, they don't have control. Their boss has told them don't go beyond X amount. Just like you look at a load and you go, that's too low. That's too low to go to the Bronx. Or that's too low to go up to North Dakota. And then you hang up and then you call the next person. And if you don't want that person in the middle that's controlling your money, then you have to go directly to the source. If I don't want to pay $4 for a bottle of water at Matt's, I bring in my own bottled water. Eliminate the middleman. Eliminate the need. And that's essentially what CDN is saying. This is how you avoid all the arguments, all the discussions, all the listening sessions. And that's 99% of these listening sessions ignore the simple facts. So, guarantee there'll be less sitting around and you'll get your time back if they were held accountable. You are correct. 5% is a death sentence. I'll agree to that. Yep, name it goodwill and fool people into thinking you donate back to the community, right? If you see that a broker did have a loss on the load, that is all I have in it. Will carriers tell broker to lower the rate? No way. Carrier will sit back and laugh. Unalienable rights to life, liberty, and freedom and pursuit of happiness applies to brokers as well as everyone else. Limitations are un-American. Pigtail, you are late. Mr. Mallory, how are you doing? Roman Empire, 16. So here's the thing. Brokers were regulated in the stock market because of this very same thing, charging way too much commission per trade. Currently, the most that they can get paid is 2 to 3%. But being a stockbroker is still a pretty money-making thing. The same thing should happen in the trucking industry. We all take the liability and risk. It should be anywhere from 2 to 3% commission for the broker per load. Simply let's get done drivers. Again, you can bypass the broker and get more money. So I mean, there are loads and look, I've seen the broker side and there are loads where there's only a 2 or 3% commission. I know people that only make $10 to $20 on a load. That's the thing. I have several friends in the broker world, and just there are shady brokers, and they'll tell you that first. And I get the frustration. Yes, Monday, I had the frustration of making 20 phone calls and only 3 people answered the phone, and they could barely speak a sentence that I could hear. And the emails were very short. Like I had to ask 15 questions over 15 emails. Hey, good morning. I'm looking at this load picking up in Dallas, Texas, going to, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Is this still available? This is how the email goes. Picks up today at 10 a.m., delivers tomorrow at 2 p.m., 1200. Then I have to email back. What is the product? What is the weight? Do you realize that mileage can't be done in that 24 hours? And but and all I get back is 41,000 pounds general goods. Does that sound like someone who's desperate for a truck? No. And that's frustrating. That was the big frustration I had Monday and yesterday, to be honest with you. And so, yes, I get it, man. There's a lot of bad brokers out there that really hate their jobs. They hate you. They don't respect you. They don't care about your deadhead. They don't care about your fuel prices. They don't care about your overhead. They are told by their boss to move this load and it needs to be X amount at this percentage. Here's your commission. So if that game does not appeal to you, then you leave. because it's not changing. It hasn't changed in, I think DAT is celebrating 45 years of existence. For 45 years, the broker thing has been going on. Has it changed? Yeah, it's changed to make it harder for you, the carrier. So, and I get it. It's frustrating when I'm trying to book 3 or 4 or 5 trucks in a week. Man, it's tough. I have a big punching bag outside that I use. It gets frustrating. I've gained a little bit of weight because of the stress. And at the end of the day, my best loads are people that aren't posting on the load boards. I'm getting their emails first because we give them a good service. And you know what? I don't ask them about their profit margin. I just take what I can get and go from there. So it's so true that it's about compliance, not safety. The video proved that. Example: you can't do if tired or ill, but you can drive tired or ill. It's about compliance and liability is what the e-logs are for. It's not about safety. Hours of service is about control. Because if the driver that can survive, driving 24 hours at a time can you can't control somebody like that. But if you put everybody on the same even playing field, then you have a better chance. Isn't that socialism? Give everybody the same fighting chance, right? And people, learned that system. I know so many people that waited till the very last minute on that ELD mandate, and they struggled for the first 6 months. Meanwhile, I've been on e-logs for years. I had people. I had this one guy. I was at the Shipper and Neo show. This one guy came up to me. He was just mad. He was just like, "Hey, brother, did you realize that?" Acting like I don't know anything about e-logs. I'm like, I've been on e-logs for going on 8 years now. Well, what do you do now? He's just freaking out. Like, dude, this is what you're doing now. Again, sometimes you wake up and it's like, well, this is what we're doing now. Sage was telling me about, spot market's going to go away. Okay, I don't see that happening, but if it does, I'll deal with it. I'm not going to get all emotional and flail my arms and freak out and wonder what my future holds. I already do that. I already wonder what my future holds. I've literally had perfect jobs and they go away because of some higher up that decided that I was making too much money. I've been laid off several times. The only job I was ever truly appreciated was a school bus driver. Because they're so desperate for drivers, they were grateful for anybody that just showed up. And it's taken me years to get over the fact that when you walk to a shipper's office, you're not allowed to knock on the window and they'll completely ignore you without any kind of communication, not even I'll get with you in a minute. That's a pet peeve of mine. And then they wonder why drivers are cranky. As a blue collar worker, you are not valued by the majority of white collar. It's true. Nobody values anybody anymore. No one values relationships. No one values friendships anymore. No one values your time. Everybody feels entitled that it's all about them. It's all about me. It's all about you. And that's what are you going to do about it? Is it frustrating? All the loads that I used to do around here were paying $1,000. I could easily make $1,000 a day, just and not even leave the state. Those same loads are going for $300. That's frustrating. I get it. And if your costs are high, that $300 isn't enough, right? And this is not the direction I wanted this channel to go in, but here we are. I didn't want this live feed to go in this direction. The power perspective was how you look at a low board, but we're going to do this now. I'm going to sound like an arrogant ass who thinks I know everything, and I don't. I know what I've screwed up with, but I also know some of the other side. If you want to understand your quote unquote enemy, you have to see it on the other side, so you can manipulate the system. I don't know why that's hard to understand. You know, how many of you parents in here snuck food into the movie theater so you're not paying $30 for a freaking popcorn and a soda? How many of you wore your leather jackets and stuck beer in the pockets so you wouldn't have to pay out the ass for the vendor's beer prices at a concert? You figure out the system and you manipulate it to what you want, what you need. And if you can't figure it out, then you change. You do something different. How about that retired Michigan couple that beat the lottery, roll down game for tens of millions, rebuilt their town of Everett, Michigan? I hadn't heard about that. Reality is, if freight brokers was so easy, the broker haters would have opened their own brokerage, and with 5% profit cap shutting down all other brokers. Go create your own brokerage and kick me out. It's not that simple going straight to the source. 90% of the industry is one truck operation. You cannot get loads from the direct source with one truck. I agree with that, Roman. That's why brokers exist. Because if you're Procter and Gamble, you don't want to deal with 100 different operations. You want to deal with one. So you go up to Snyder and you say, "Hey, help me figure this out." Bass Pro did that. Bass Pro Shop had, here in Springfield, Bass Pro Shop, we have the headquarters. Okay. We had the company I was with, Transland, they had them, they had RBX, a couple other local companies doing all their freight, DC to stores when they started opening stores. RBX handled the DC to store. Transland, we handled the DC to in Macon, Georgia, and then we handled all the new stores. That was pretty cool because you show up in a dirt parking lot, you open the doors, and like one time I was hauling half of a Richard Petty race car, like it was cut in half lengthwise, and plastic palm trees. That's all I had. All the weird decorations that they put in these stores. Anyways, and one day someone came up to me and said, they're putting out bids for someone to take over all their logistics because they hated dealing with 20, 30 different carriers. So one day we get a call, we've lost all the Bass Pro. Werner got it. So you go in the office, and the same people that were shipping office were now employees of Werner. And they were handling the in and outbound. And so essentially all we were doing is bringing freight in because Werner would broker that in. Hey, there's a load of barbecue sauce that needs to be brought from, Massachusetts into Springfield. And if Werner couldn't get one of their trucks on it, they brokered it out and gave it to the local trucks that were trying to get home. So they created relationships with these carriers, such as Transland, RBX, and all that. And they did the same thing with the boats. They tried hauling their own boats. It didn't work. So Werner was hauling it. That didn't work. So now they hire out TMC and I believe Maverick. And so once you see the ins and outs of how that's done, yeah, Procter and Gamble doesn't want to work with a one truck operation. So how do you get into that system? How do you defeat that? Well, if a broker can get in there and you have a good relationship with that broker and you know that broker's not price gouging and giving you very little, then that, to me, that would be a good thing. Or become an agent for a broker to get into that. Or have a family member do that. I mean, there's so many different ways you can deal with that. And so there are methods to deal with that. Forcing them to have a certain profit margin is going to eliminate the ability to go do that. So it's I don't know why you would want that. 45 years of connecting drivers to loads, and thanks they get is a slap in the face. They raise their rates, right? You know who hasn't raised their rates? 123 low board. Hours of service about keeping idiots from doing idiot things, but they still do it. I'm talking about the 85 to 90% of the owner operators have one truck and run off the spot market. For these guys, going the source is not attainable. I agree with you. I agree wholeheartedly that it's not easy for one truck to get into these big shippers. I agree with that. And why is that? Because the mega carriers have got the handle on that. The brokers have got the handle on that. Why? Because the brokers understand the system. And if I'm a shipper, I'm going to deal with one person, not 15, if I got 15 loads a day to deal with. The NHTSA data shows that Class 8 trucks with sleeper are less than 2% of the problem on U.S. highways, yet we get regulated more than anything on the road. It makes zero sense. It makes perfect sense because it's all about control. It's all about the lawyers making their money. You can have an accident that's not even your fault, and the trucking company can be sued. That's where the e-logs come in. The e-logs say if you're on paper and you're not supposed to be where you're supposed to be, and you're involved in an accident, well, the lawyer's going to say you shouldn't have been there. So now all the liability is on you. So yeah, the mega carriers were all about the e-logs because they wanted to reduce their liability. And if you have a cell phone in your truck, you're being tracked anyways. So hell, the truck's got computers now. Volvo's got a deal where if the truck engine light comes on, it can send a message to Volvo, and the shop can order the part and schedule your repair all from the truck's computer. Did you guys know that? As far as change, if we have that negative mindset that things will never change, then they won't. Slavery lasted 200 years in this country and it finally came to an end, so this can too. Oh, it's changing more than we know right now. And I'm not saying that there's, things will never change. I mean, they're definitely changing. Ask anybody who's been in the spot market for the last 10 years. Things are definitely changed. We can change the game. We need to believe we can. Well, telling people how much money they can make is not the change that you need, in my opinion. So, safety at a warehouse or a factory, things change after an injury, but everyone did something for 5 years, one injury, new procedures, right? Yeah, the few people that caused problems in trucking are no longer in trucking, yet we bear the burden of their carelessness. All you can control is your attitude about what's happening around you. When one door closes, look around for the next door that's unlocked. If this was still a $5 market, we wouldn't even be discussing it. Absolutely. Yep. What's up, old man? I got to meet the old man back at Matt's. You're a sneaker of food. Dennis, what's up? The reality is this business isn't for anyone, but is expected to be profitable to everyone. This country has become godless. The degeneracy is unremarkable. I 110% Roman Empire. I agree with you. Like you have no idea how much I agree with you. I might mention it a few times on the other channel. SST, amen. Look at construction industry. If you're a subcontractor, plumber, or carpenter, and you feel the major contractor is not paying you fairly, go bid on your own direct construction job. Always a way out. They made a movie out of lottery couple. Bryan Cranston, Breaking Bad was lead. Oh, okay. Cast not your pearls amongst swine. Starting a brokerage may not be easy, but that doesn't mean they aren't scumbags that are ripping us off. Also, it's easier than driving a truck or any blue collar job. The Sage and CDN will be happy to debate you on that. I mean, they're scum carriers too. My apologies, Steve. My comment early on live about solution and transparency got the conversation off the rails, not intended. Look, that's the beauty of YouTube, right? It can go anywhere and everywhere, right? Apparently, this discussion needs to be made. So, because you're thinking about it, everybody else is thinking about it. They had a whole discussion about it at Matt's. So apparently it needs to be talked about. And that's what we do here on YouTube. We talk about the things that people want to talk about within reason, because Google will censor you if you get too crazy. Fate Trucking, I hope things are getting better for you. At least you'll be home today. So I saw a piece of your live feed, and not good, my friend, not good. I loved all those RBX Bass Pro loads. Cool to see not only what I was hauling, but also the different stores. Bass Pro loads were so. I mean, I predominantly did the Springfield to Macon, and then I did the Macon to Foxborough, Mass, or Macon to Freeville, New York. Freeville, New York was the best because it was easier to get up there. I could sit in their dock and go to the mall and eat bad for me food and spend the night there. Whereas Foxborough was, I almost got arrested at Foxborough because me and the security guard weren't seeing eye to eye on something. If you can believe that. So, I mean, they threatened to call the cops on me. So, I did not like the Foxborough run as much. And that was a tough run because you had to be shut down by a certain time because it takes logs. And the closest place was about 2 miles out, and it was a pay to park place. I once took a shower there, and the sink was literally this big, like this big. Like there was nowhere to set anything. But, character building moments are always difficult. You're an ice fisherman, you will weather the storm fine. I'm flying home this afternoon by 3:30. I'll be back in Minnesota. All is good. RD, starting a brokerage is easier than a carrier. Get at it. The brokers are also feeling the pinch. Otherwise, they would be laying off. They wouldn't. Why would they be laying folks off? Exactly. %95 of new brokers never move a load. Now you got Sage triggered, guys. And fail sounds easy. A lot of misplaced anger, and it won't help your situation. Change for good or save your money. I've spent $5,250 this week for hitting a curb and truck still isn't fixed. If you just spend your cash, you might be out of the game. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. There you go. Sage is challenging RD to a debate. Not everyone in this business will be successful. Same old crap. Quit bitching. Just drive your truck. There you go, Thomas. Cool trucking. I'm gonna miss you, man. I'm gonna miss you guys. I hope. I wish you luck in your future endeavor. Cool trucking. I hope you enjoy your retirement. Um, he does. Thomas does bring it back to reality. They can try to debate me all they want. They are wrong. Forget transparency. Focus on building your business so other business want to buy you. Mergers and acquisitions are the new focus in 2023. Right. Have a asset based business that people want, whether it's through the contracts or through the trucks. I understand what you're saying about capitalism and not capping out on how much money you can make, but regulation in this country is more common than you think. It's well, here's the deal, Roman. You have a lot of double and even triple brokering going on right now, and the FMCSA knows it's happening, and they're not doing anything to prevent it. The brokers have had to figure it out, and and they are. And what that does is that puts the pinch on us because now my Gmail address isn't enough for you. Now my phone number isn't enough for you. Now I got to have 3 forms of verification before I can even sign your rate con. Now every load needs to be tracked. And which is fine. I'll deal with it. But that is a problem. Because the brokers that have had good relationships with carriers, as their volumes drop, as the broker's volume drops, and it has been, the information is out there, and other brokers are undercutting other brokers on direct freight. They want to be able to have good service and not have to post on the low board, so there's less risk of the double brokering, the illegal scams that are going on right now. I look at a load. I look at a low board of 100 brokers, and I recognize like 5 or 6 of them. And I get tired of typing MC numbers to our factoring company only to find out that it doesn't exist, or it's red, or there's no history at all. It's become a problem. There was a broker that I've been using for the last 2 years. She said, "Hey, we're doing things different. I need to send the Raycon to this address to your carrier, and we need to do this online stuff now because they've had a huge issue of double brokering." That's where the regulations need to come in, is to stop the illegal stuff. The FMCSA ain't doing that either. There you go. RD is picking a fight with Sage. Retirement, how hard could it be? Well, I know people that have tried and then they end up having to go back to work because they just can't sit around um, the way they were. I mean, I'm sure you guys will have some stuff that you'll be doing. You can do everything right and still go out of business. If you know your true cost, you have a much better chance to survive and profit. If you don't know your true cost, you've already lost. Pigtail says he came out of retirement. He was bored. Take your panties down when you talk to RTC. Jeez. You guys. Thanks for your service, cool truck, and many happy retirement years. There you go. So, anyways, I guess I'll just have to go with the perspective thing on Friday's live feed. Jeff touched on it last night in his feed about, looking at low boards and how to make money in a down market. And if you look around the truck stops, there are people doing it. Not everybody's out here running a rattle trap with bungee cords and duct tape and barely surviving. There's a few people that are making it, and find those people and say, what are you doing? What's your perspective on this? How do you deal with this market? Because the majority of the people that are upset right now, understandably. I mean, you know I had to have a consultation with the driver yesterday, who's literally just frozen because he looks at the low board and it just messes with his head. And so once we were able to change his perspective, I think it's going to help. And that's pretty much what you have to do. And in the last 2 days, it's funny. I was talking with DIY about this and Pigtail about this. I had such great positive momentum from the truck show. And then Monday and Tuesday went to crap. It's like, I think the challenges that we are all facing, I think just weighed heavy on me. But today I have a little bit more of a positive spin on it. So it's just how you look at things, right? Double brokering sometimes is good. I've seen brokers that are not factorable. Landstar double brokers that they're. Look, a co-brokering, that's different. Co-brokering like Landstar or whatever, that's fine. But it's the illegal behind the back double brokering. That's like if I grabbed a load from Sage Robinson for like trucking, and then turn around and broker that load out and let somebody else do the work, and I get all the money. That's the scam that's going on right now. Or that the other carrier goes and picks up that load, finds out that there's no load, and I've already gotten the cash advance off that. So a lot of brokers aren't doing cash advances anymore. I typically look at a glass that's half full. However, lately volumes on the lane I run scare me. I haul reefer freight, but been thinking of buying a flatbed trailer and maybe ride that wave. Thoughts? Yeah, Fate. I'll put this right on the glass for you. Hold on. Hopefully, I've got internet here. All right. Let me put this on the glass for you. Here's my thoughts. All right, so here's that trend lines. Flatbed load the truck. For this week, it's down 0.4%. Now, for the month, it's up 13%. But look at the year. Flatbed load the truck has gone down 82%. Whereas van load the truck is only at 55% down. And look at flatbed spot rates. They're down 19%. You know why that happened? Because more trucks entered the game. So essentially what's going to happen is you're going to do a lot more work with a lot more risk with a lot more equipment to make the same amount of money that you're probably making now eventually. Now, flatbed's getting ready to probably uptick on their volumes, But what happened last year is that, you know, more people entered the flatbed world. And that's so you're only rearranging an issue, not solving an issue. Because you're going to be about 4 or 5 grand into the equipment. You're going to have to deal with your truck. All right, Thomas Wilson, have a good day. Um, and it's remained steadier here, but when you look at the year, load ratios went down 82%, down 82%. The whole spot market as a whole is 80 is spot load posts is down 68%. The flatbed's down 82% for the year. From March of last year to March this year. Van posts are up. Van load to truck ratio is up by 9% this week. But for the month, it's still down 18%. This is that little spring uptick everybody was counting on. But they're still not budging on the rates. And then I don't know if you have any flatbed experience, but then then you got to do the training. And guess what? The DOT is hammering hard on flatbed carriers right now because of the ridiculous things. If you're on Facebook, go be a part of a flatbed group, flatbed truck. I forget the name of the group, but it's flatbed. And the stuff that they've shown scares the living bejesus out of me. You got people using straps on coils. You have people using straps to tie down there was one where they were using straps, not chains, to tie down a school bus. You have people that are carrying the flat wire coils flat on the trailer without anything, without straps or chains. Because people, it's a gold rush mentality. Hey, this is where the money's at. Let's jump over here. So now, if there's a kinetic war that happens, raw materials are going to need moved, and that would be a good time because then these numbers change. Now, the other reason why I would do a flatbed is if you had a direct shipper that would pay you well to do it. Because I know several people that's what they did. They had an opportunity, so they went out and bought a flatbed, went out, bought the straps, and they run their direct freight that way. So there you go. That's my thoughts on it. I'd say with reefer freight, more consistent, and you're doing well, especially in this market. Stick to what you know, and that's a good point too. Is and Cascade can attest to this. You're learning a whole new system. You're learning a whole new set of brokers. You're going to have to change. You might even have to change low boards. There's a whole different way of doing things, and when it's just a matter of survival, you got to do what you know. Unless you see an opportunity, and I don't see opportunity in flatbed. I don't see the opportunity in learning, because here's the thing. 3 things make a person go out of business: debt, no money coming in, and doing something that you have no idea what you're doing. And when you're a company driver, becoming an owner operator for the first time, boom, there's 2 right there. And then it takes a minute for the money to come in. So that's why a lot of owner operators fail. And so when it comes to, even starting a brokerage or any business, like if I went out and opened my store I wanted to open, well, that would create debt. I wouldn't have any money coming in, and I'd be doing something I have no idea what I'm doing. That's a recipe for disaster. So with Flatbed, you're going to create debt to buy the equipment. You're going to be doing, you might be a ex flatbedder. I don't know. So you at least have some idea. That'll be great. But then how long can you go without no money coming in? Because that's what's going to happen for a little bit. Because I guarantee your first 3 or 4 loads, you're going to be struggling just to kind of figure it out. And you're going to lose a day here or two there, by figuring out what the lanes are. The lanes are completely different in the flatbed world. Cascade says flatbed's crashing too. Have multiple modalities is always a good business strategy. Allows you to pivot much quicker based on current market conditions. True, but at the same time, it's got to be, you got to think it out, right? Because, if you have to think, if you're thinking about going to flatbed, so is everybody else. Hence the 82% that you're seeing on this chart. I'm pointing at it like you guys can see it like an idiot. He's not sitting there in the middle of the night trying to make it legal in the middle of a rainstorm with tornadoes. As the market segment is concerned, van is the lion's share, then reefer and flatbed is the smallest, right? Thanks for the super chat, Fate. You're welcome. Thank you. Fate Truck and I'd stick it out. You're doing well. Possibly just look at the other lanes. You have direct customers and consistency is key right now. So I get it, Fate. You're probably, I know some of your backstory, and yes, rates have dropped on what you were doing. And you've been sitting in a hotel for what, four days now, and your mind dwells on things. And I imagine you're not feeling pretty good about things right now. So that's why you're probably thinking about that. And I get that. I truly get that, for real. That's kind of how I've been feeling the last couple of days. So, you'll figure it out. But, making any kind of moves that creates more debt right now, I don't think that's a good idea. On something you don't know what you're doing. You might know what you're doing, but, it just depends. All right, Sage and RD are still going at it. I've seen coils in the median, right? That's scary. Fate, if you have previous flatbed experience, then it might be a consideration. Study your lanes before you buy or rent. If you don't have load securement experience, you're starting at the bottom. There you go. Those numbers that don't lie yet again. Sometimes math is hard. Grass ain't always greener on the other side, says Tennessee. You do have flatbed experience. Okay. Flatbed open window, first come, first serve is appealing in a down market, less stress. I agree with that. It's easier for me to dispatch a flatbed truck, to be honest with you. Oh, 11 days. Wow. Dude, I had no idea. 11 days. Jeez. Time flies, I guess. Should have got a rental car and went to Matt's. Hung out with everybody. Sage has a different perspective than the old man. Perspective like that has different priorities. It's not wrong. It's just how it is. Focus on strengths. Don't invite new challenges. What I see is owners lose heart. The effort no longer justifies the result. And that's going around a lot too, Cool Truck. And I agree. I agree with that. Look, this Trucking Life just said the same thing. Will Burner, good morning. Good to see you, my friend. Must be willing to pivot if the rates aren't meeting your needs. Yeah, Mallory pivoted. He went to a different platform. He also hated dealing with brokers, and guess what? He hired me, still wasn't enough, so he eliminated brokers. Now he's doing direct freight, and I assume he's doing well. Fate, sometimes you got to get out of your own head. That was some good advice given to me not long ago by the bearded feller above. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes. Bearded fellers are cool. All right. I'm having a good week. There you go. All right. So Artie and Sage are at the descaling. You guys, I swear. All right, guys. I'm done. We can look at. Well, hold on. I'm not done yet. Let's look at the 123 low board real quick. I'm digging these. I wanted to go over the new features today, but that didn't happen. Let's see here. All right. Load availability. Let's see. Share screen. Doink, doink, doink. All right. Got to run. Thanks for all the information. Snorelord in chat. I'm bouncing out of this room and heading home to God's country. Take care, guys. Have a safe flight home. All right. So this is let's do Flatbed just for fate if he's still watching. These are all the areas. So let's look at fate. If you're still in here, we can look at Minnesota flatbed freight. $267 to go to New Hampshire. $242 a mile to go to Omaha. Minnesota to Fargo, but you're not going to get much out of there. Only $375 for that load. I can't even pronounce that. Minnesota to Fargo, North Dakota, $375. $228 a mile to Omaha. $1.85 to go to Columbia, Missouri from Minnesota. 607 miles. Shakopee to Keatsville, Missouri. $1.79 a mile. See, Fate, you're still going to have lower rates than what you want. So imagine you could probably get $1.80 for that same lane for a reefer. If not, $1.50, but then you're not tying down things. You're not outside strapping, tarping and all that. So yeah, and Missouri's a yellow state, so it should be a little bit more going in, but that's not what they're paying. Down $1 from last year, right? So their rates have dropped. So I think you're just rearranging a problem, not solving a problem. So that's how supply and demand works, I believe. All right, so let's do reefer here. A little more yellow. That's promising versus red. I've been seeing an uptick in freight coming out of Washington and Oregon and Idaho, so that's good. A lot of stuff going from the West Coast to New York City. No one wants to go there. So again, if you're willing to do what others don't want to do, that's what you're going to do. So let's look at Missouri. Missouri's green. St. Louis to Rogers, $1.96 a mile. $800 for Bell, Missouri to Byhalia, Mississippi. Am I saying that right? Apparently, Schramm's got a bunch of them. Surge has got quite a bit of freight out of Carthage and St. Louis. St. Louis, that's going to be beer. Here's Springfield to Brookhaven. Wow, that's actually. Well, let me look at that one. They're actually not too far off. Wow. I know what that's going to be. That's going to Walmart. What's the miles on that? 518. If that's going to I think Brookhaven, is that Walmart? Yeah. I always get Brookhaven and Olive Branch mixed up, but Brookhaven, that's probably going to be Walmart. It's probably going to be McCormick to Walmart. And you could, I believe you can still, I don't know if it's true, but you can spend the night there on the street there in front of Walmart. So you can make that work. Oh, it doesn't deliver till 4 p.m. Okay, well, it's kind of lame, but unless you have a reload that can load quicker, might get some paper out of there that ships 24 hours. Um, then you got this St. Louis to Thief River Falls, Minnesota, only paying $1.41. Freight bills are saying about $2.13. You want some broker transparency? This is what this cargo chief add-on is. This is based off of actual freight bills in this lane. That's cool. As you can see how much different it is from the rate check. So brokers are probably not going to like 123. But you know what? If, some people think that tools aren't important. I do. Here's 4,300 go from Aurora, Missouri to Woodland, Washington. 214 a mile. But look at the cargo chief, 5,100. So I'd start at 53, and they'll talk you down a little bit if you wanted to go out here. Some bad weather coming through here. A lot of mountains too. What's the weight on this? 43.5. So you got to be careful. So let's do van now. And we'll dive into these features a little bit deeper on some future videos. Like van freight coming out of Cali, $2.97 a mile going to Phoenix. Here we go. Corona to Jonesville, South Carolina, $1.40 a mile. Man, they're not paying to go in or out of California right now. It's kind of a bad show out there right now. So $1.25, $1.36, $1.37, $1.48. So that's when you got to focus on the rate per day, or else you're just going to sit there and not want to run. If the rate per day matters, then you're good to go. But you got to know that cost. I mean, it's as simple as that. Anyways, 48065 if you want to check out the 163 low board. Use my discount. It'll give you 30 days free. $35 a month for everything except Cargo Chief. That's an add-on. That's $20. And yes, I get a kickback, but I also use this board, and it's a great tool. I would not endorse anything that I wouldn't like. So let's see. Yeah, thank you there. Come on with it. Artie and Sage are not going at it. I've only responded to one of his comments. I don't know anything else he's saying. You're going at it. Freightwaves has a 3PL Summit on now. Maybe some nuggets of info, or maybe just hot air. Who knows? Nomadic Brit, what's up? Correct. I say debate. Everyone runs away. Clean a coffee maker with vinegar. 123 needs more brokers. Not sure why they would focus on features that brokers won't like. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I mean they're getting some. I encourage anybody to have a conversation with Lauren on the ones whether you're a broker or a carrier. I mean, he was. I got a lot of good insight from him over the weekend. So very excited. He's got a YouTube channel. Here, let's see if we can find it here. Here's the channel name. There you go. There's a link to his channel. Go check it out. And there you go. So throw trillions of extra dollars into the market, get inflation, throw tens of thousands of new authorities in the spot market, same result. There you go. It's as simple as that. It's going to be my new tagline. So, all right, guys and gals, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Aggression turns the screw. Get on it. If you're interested in coming into the spot market with a great carrier that won't rip you off, that won't, won't put you on a predatory lease, come to Like Trucking, www.liketrucking.com. And we have availability. And anyways, you want to support the channel, the link's down there below. I appreciate every single person that's commented. And it's good to have healthy debates. We're not all screaming and yelling and getting all angry. Like Roman, we were having a good discussion there. And whether we change each other's minds or not, I don't know, but at least hopefully we can give different perspectives. And so the more different perspectives a person can have, the better. Whether you agree with it or not, it's good to see things from the other side. So with that being said, here we go. RD, I will go live in a few hours and allow any brokers that want to debate about how hard they work the chance. There you go. RD is going to go live. So let me put that channel up there. Of course, I can't find your channel because you keep changing it. But I believe you got a wrench, so you can probably. There you go. Come on with it, did it. Come on with it, did it. There you go. Good job. Yeah. All I got was a bunch of John Fogerty stuff. Subbed and bell. Subed and bell. There you go. All right. You invited that, RD. That's funny. All right, guys. Strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Things can get done still. You just got to figure it out. With that being said, thanks for watching. Until Friday, peace out.